So it's 2021 and I decided to start this year with a game dev challenge. Jamuary. What is Jamuary, you might be wondering? Well, it's like Inktober, but for games. A little challenge where you make a game every day of January based on a theme. Here are the rules. Make a game every day of January. Use the theme for inspiration. Have fun and practice. To pick the themes, I used a random word generator and vetoed some of the words that I didn't think would make fun games, and that was it. So I was left with 31 words to guide me to making 31 games. If you'd like to be inspired by these words and to make your own Jamuary, even if only for a couple days, or if January has already passed, then feel free to jam as much as you like. This is just for fun and for practicing your game making skills, so don't worry guys. Now, I started on day 1, Wonder. The game gave me an idea of an exploration type of game, and I thought about doing a game where you'd walk around different biomes looking for different animals. Each animal would have their own behavior. Some would be more hostile, some would be more friendly, and some would run away from the players, others would attack. The player would also have a hunger bar and would have to eat berries to survive. Each animal would have a rarity associated with it. And the player would have a journal where he could take pictures from the animal and put it on the journal and check on the animal's stats and learn about it, learn where to find it. It all sounds cool, right? You explore this map finding animals. Wow. First lesson, learn how to scope. I simply couldn't make this game with all the features in one day, especially because I had to reinstall Unity and just that took an hour. I had to cut almost every feature and ended up with a game about wandering around and finding rabbits, and when you glide through them, they appear on your journal. And as you can see, the movement was really jagged. I thought I'd fix it when I finished everything, but the thing is, I never even got closer to finishing the game, you know? And there are no animations, even though I actually did the sprites. I left the animations for last and there was no time. This is what I regret the most, because look at all these rabbits. Look at how many bouncing rabbits I did. And it was so much content that I couldn't fit it all in a game made in one day. The rabbits you find through the game, they do appear on your journal, but there are no photos and no stats, just a sprite about them. And yeah, but look, little rabbits you can find wandering through the map. So yeah, it fit the theme, and even though the game didn't end up as I'd like, it still was a very good practice. It reminded me that you should always focus on scoping your games as best as possible, starting with core features and building up more content only when you know that the core works. Also, you should always consider the time you need for polishing the game. It helps you elevate your game. I thought if I made a big map where the player could wander around and find 8 different rabbits of 8 different colors, that would be cool, but I forgot about polish basically everything. And the game is unfinished, and it looks unfinished because it's not polished even a little bit. So even if you wander around, you won't have a lot to do, you won't have a lot of fun watching static trees and rabbits and scenery that doesn't interact with you. But yeah, the day was over and I hadn't finished it. I don't know if I will go back in the future before publishing all the games made this month, if I'll go back and finish some of the more unfinished games, or if I'll just let them be as they are. But this one feels really unfinished, and it's one I think I would go back to change a few things if I could. But it's good to take in consideration that it's not important whether or not it's a game ready to be released. The focus here was to practice and explore new techniques, and I feel like I did it. And with that, I finished the first day of 2021 and the first day of January and my first game of 2021. That's reason enough to be proud, you know? On day 2, I thought I was ready to create a game that was better scoped and not commit the same mistakes that I had made the day before. The theme was engine, and I decided to make a spaceship that you would make upgrades to. You'd destroy meteors and try to get as far in the game as you could, and when you lost, you'd be able to buy the upgrades to your engine, guns, or shield. I don't know why I keep talking about my initial ideas. The game ended up nothing like that. It isn't finished at all, and I'll probably come back to it again before posting. My intentions were to make a bullet hell, and it's just like a bullet, and that's it. A single bullet. But it's okay. You have a ship, and you can shoot at asteroids to collect coins. And if you ask me, a ship shooting asteroids is a perfectly fine game. And it also fits the theme, because a ship has an engine, and the theme was engine. So I consider it a success. And that was it. They freaking sooner than I imagined, and with a very open theme, Matrix. You'd think that with a theme like that, I would try to make a super cool game, maybe influenced by the cooler Matrix. Well, no, I've learned my lesson about scope. I did make a super cool game, but it was based on a more boring type of Matrix. There's this game called Ultimate Dictator that is basically Dictator to an extreme. There's a very good Fresh Walker video about the rules, but basically you have a small baby tic-tac-toe grid inside a bigger mama grid. Player 1 can start anywhere they want, and whenever a player places the mark, the next player must play on the corresponding board on the mama grid. When a player is sent to a board that is unplayable because one other player has already won it, or because it was a draw, they can choose any place on the board to place their marks. And to win, you must win on the mama board. This game involved a lot of matrices, and that was why I chose it. It was challenging, but also fun, and I'm really happy with the results, since I was able to actually 100% finish it this once. Well, it has no SFX and no music because I actually am very bad at it, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Day 4 was themed around River, and having learned my lesson of making simpler games with a tiny scope so that I, a very lazy person, could finish in time, I then decided, with all my newfound wisdom, to go with a very simple river crossing puzzle. And it's truly simple. You are a farmer, this guy, and you want to cross the river with a pet fox, a box of lettuce, and a rabbit. Yes, I resented the fact that I didn't use all the sprites of the rabbit that I made, and so I reused the rabbit because of that. Well, going back to the river crossing problem, it goes that you have a boat with only 2 slots, and you need the farmer so that he can drive the boat, and you must cross the river with everybody. And if you leave the rabbit alone with the box of lettuce, the rabbit will eat it. And if you leave the fox alone with the rabbit, guess what will happen? Yeah, the rabbit will also eat it. Anyways, it's a very simple cross the river game, as I have said 1,000 times before. And it was also fairly simple to make too. It's completely finished too, and I don't think I'll be coming back to it. Maybe to add some sound effects, because I never do, but that would be it. Day 5 had pear as a theme, and to get some inspiration, since I don't know a lot about the subject, I went to google.com to see if something would shine a light on what I could do for the theme. Well, it seems that Google Images is filled with images about pairs of pears, because the words sound alike, I guess. It almost made me make a game about pears and pairs of pears, but thankfully I remember memory games, seeing as they are very hard to forget, and decided to make one. It was the best decision because they were fun and just the right amount of challenging to not make me quit it. So here we have my memory game. Can you guess what's going to be the image? What I made 8 of in different colors and never used? That's right, they are back again. As you can see, I clearly am very bad at this game made for children. The thing is, the brown rabbit and the common rabbit look a lot alike, and so does the gray rabbit and the white rabbit. I'm not daltonic, but it's very hard for me to get them right. I'm sorry for my daltonic friends that play this game. It is not going to be easy, even if you have a perfect vision. But it can be fun. And also, this game was completed and I really liked it. Day 6 had the theme core, and to understand the theme, you have to bear with me a bit. So, the theme score. The first thing you think? Well, I don't know. But what I thought was Earth's core. And how would I make a small game about the Earth's core? Well, again, I don't know. But I thought, what else has a core? A star. And what happens when a star's core gets very dense? A black hole, which probably has a core. Maybe or not. I don't know. So I decided. I made a game where you're this little black hole that doesn't look a lot like a black hole, and you must eat stars so that you can get even bigger and eat bigger stars. If you try to eat a star that's bigger than you lose the game. It was very fun making this game, especially because it was the first time that I messed around with 2D lights as well as 2D shaders and renders. I spent a long time making the distortion around the black hole, and it doesn't turn out very good. But it was fun making it and messing around with it. On day 7, the last day of the week, I wish I had rested, but I didn't. The theme was beats, and I decided to focus on something I hadn't focused on before. The game beats. Not a single one of the games had sound effects, so I made a game that relied entirely on sound effects. Well, maybe not entirely, you can still play it using only the images, but you might be able to play this game hearing only the sounds. You play against another player, and every second you can choose an action. You can power up, that gets your beat powered up. You can beat, if you have powered up previously. You can defend, and you can heal. So yeah, that was day 7 summed up. The game was also inspired by accessible games such as Mortal Kombat that can be played and mastered by blind people. Of course, my game is no Mortal Kombat and I can't affirm it's accessible, especially because I'm tone deaf and the beats were basically randomly generated by SFXR, but that was my inspiration and I liked how it turned out. And with day 7, I finished the first week of games. I still have 24 days to go, but I'm excited and I believe I'll be able to do it. I also believe I'll come out as a better game designer after it. I mean, I already got better at scoping and knowing what I can do in 24 hours. And I also saw a lot of things that I didn't usually see on my day-to-day life. So it's a good warm-up to make a bigger video game. And to anyone still watching, this is my very first YouTube video. If you'd leave a like, that would be greatly appreciated, and I'll be sure to answer any questions you might have down in the comments below. And if you'd like to see more about games, game design, and what I'll be doing, please be sure to subscribe. And if you try a few of the Jamuary challenges, tag me on Twitter, it's @SilverlyB. So yeah, I'm SilverlyB, and that was it guys. Thanks for watching.